general one, and then I'll do a more exact one where it has to be perfect, okay? So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the path panel. Here it is, hiding behind the layers panel. And I can use a selection or a pen path to create and save a path. I can use a selection tool or a pen path to create a path. But I need to save it as a certain way, as what is known as a clipping path. And my tools window tools seem to have gone away. There they are. All right, so if I want something that's not this picture, but let's say I'm going to just do a very basic thing here. I'm just going to hack this out for the sake of time, because I just want this very lollipop shape around my tree. Right? And now I have that selection. Okay. I didn't check before I started, and there is a feather of 1 on, so I don't know what's going to happen here when I go to paths and try to click this. It actually was fine. So that now this has a thing called work path. This little looks like a little little sewing brace with little dots on the corners. That's turned my selection into a work path. So I'm going to undo that. Now it's in selection mode, and now click, it's in work path mode. I have to change the name of this though in order to keep it. So this is lollipop. Okay. And I'll save this file. To save it properly, it wants to be able to go into Illustrator, or more precisely InDesign, and use that little shape as a clipping path. It needs to be saved as a TIFF, which stands for Tagged Image File Format. So that's a TIFF file. Right. Now, including layers will increase file size. I'm down with that. However, if I go back to path now, this is just a path, and it may be interesting to note if I go to InDesign now, and I'm going to zoom in on this page, and I go to File, Place, and I go to the desktop, and I get that lollipop tree here, Tree of Life TIFF, and I place it, you do not see the path that I made on it. Okay? No path. One more time, Abigail. Click and drag. Still no path. Where did the path go? If I go under Object and I look for Path, and in fact I try to find a thing called the clipping path, options, you can see alpha channel, there's nothing in there. Detect edges, not so helpful. Photoshop path, is it seeing it? Oh, there it is, lollipop. So I went to Photoshop path and lollipop and click OK, and then that hacks it out the shape I wanted. It used to be that you had to, especially if you have multiple paths in Photoshop, that you could select this if you have more than one and tell this one to be the clipping path. And that would make it be the one that's chosen when you bring this into InDesign. So you might have, for some editing reasons, multiple paths. You might have one image and want to change the clipping path per page on the same image. You might want to zoom in on this part of the image on one page and a different part of another page. So you can have multiple paths, or multiple paths in an image. So if I go back to my pen tool here and I click away, all right, now I'm going to do something more precise, as I said I would do. And this time I'm going to use the path tools themselves. So I need my regular tool panel here. View, my tools. And I think it's time for me to reset my workspace. So I'm going to reset my Essentials workspace. There we go. And this time I'm going to do something more exact. So I'm going to zoom in. Right, I still have on the paths panel that first path, but let's just say for some reason I wanted to do something really perfect here, and I'm going to use my pen tool to do this. Here's my pen tool. So it works pretty much the same way as the Illustrator pen tool, clicking and dragging. And I'm making this path around this part of the artwork, this green circle part of this. Did it come out correctly? So this is the path move tool, and it looks like it didn't close. Okay, so that looks kind of awkward. And let's see if I can get it to close. So I'm going to click, and did I manage it? No. All right, so that's not a good one. I bail on that one. I'm against it. This is not working for me. All right, let's try it again. Back to my pen tool. This time, no fail. Click and drag, click and drag, click and drag, click and drag, and I'm going to call it perfect. It does not want to close that shape. Photoshop, what's up? All right, there. That time, it did it with a little weird loopy deal, which I will now fix. There is an extra point with a little handle. All right, so I could take more time to perfect this path, but I am not going to. I am, however, going to select it, give it a name. I'm going to call it circle. And with it selected, now I'm going to tell it to be the clipping path. Okay, I'm going to leave this number alone because I don't really know what it does, even after working in Photoshop for 22 years. I have no idea what that does. Okay, so I just leave that alone. Now if I go back to InDesign, everything looks fine. It looks the same. If I zoom out and I place this artwork again in a different place, Command D, get the artwork, and click it. It's giant. I'm a little worried. My machine's been doing weird things all day and I dropped it this morning. I'm really hoping when it goes to sleep tonight and then in the morning it'll be all better and not be doing weird things with my mouse. All right, so this is artwork. It's way over here and I'm shifting it back over. Okay, so what happened here is I squished it, but that should not matter. When I go under Object Clipping Path and I do Options again, I should now see Photoshop Path. It didn't pick the one I wanted. It didn't save the one I wanted. Why not? Let's go back, make sure I saved this file. I've definitely saved it now. Tree of Life TIFF. It should still be the same file. Okay. And Clipping Path, Options. Photoshop Path, right? Huh, maybe I have to close and open? That's making me sad. It should actually let me have both paths, just like I have in the image. Right? There's this one. Is it the clipping path? Is it set as clipping path? It should be. I don't know. I'm going to switch the order and make sure it's saved again. I believe it should be just fine. It should just work now. See this little little shield, that little yield symbol? That means the image is recognizing that it's been updated. So that's good. Let's try this one more time. Clipping path, options, Photoshop path. Okay, I broke Photoshop. It is not working. So that's scary and bad that it's not letting me do that. It should let me have more than one. So now I have another research project I have to look up. So I'm going to save it with just the one called Circle now. See what that does. It should certainly mess this up. But let's see if I can get it now. Object, clipping path, options. All right, I don't know. Maybe I'm having a memory error. I'm going to try it with this. I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to go Object, Fitting, Fill Frame Proportionately, okay? Object, Clipping Path, Options. It's still seeing this. It's not updating it. All right, so I'm going to go to another page here. I'll go to page 4. There is no page 4. I'm going to go to page 3 and try this one last time. You saw it. I saw it. I saved it with the path circle. There it is. I'm going to give it another name just to be safe. Save as Tree of Life 2 on the desktop. I'm staying in the same document. Okay, and flipping back over. And what should happen, Command D, when I place Tree of Life 2, is that it should have, there it is. Yeah, that's the circle. So I might be having a memory error on my computer. If I place the first one, let's come over here, hand tool, zoom in, Command D, and get the first one, Tree of Life 1. Come to me, Tree of Life. Command D, Tree of Life, open, and click and drag. Yeah, I saved them as 2 different names. All right, so I'm having some weird thing, and it makes me really feel bad because I'm not doing a good job demoing this not easy to understand thing, and it's not going as smoothly as I might want it to do. So I'm going to try one more thing here. I'm going to go to Photoshop, and I'm going to close this image and not save that. And I'm going to go, actually, do we have the sun? Yes, we do. Okay, so if we go to the layers in the sun, and we do this, I'm going to throw this background away. And we do select, load selection, layer 1 transparency. We now have the selection edges. I'm going to go back to the paths panel and tell it to be a path. Okay, I'm going to change the name from work path to sunny and click OK. Now, even if I have, I'm going to go back to this layer and add a new layer, okay, deselecting everything. In this new layer, I'm going to put a color, and in fact, I'll just fill it with black, all right, behind this. And export this out, File, Save As, a TIFF to the desktop, and click OK. And if I go back into InDesign, Command D to place it, there's sunny. And when I place it, it should not show the clipping path with it selected. And I go to Objects and go to Clipping Path, Objects, Clipping Path, Options, Photoshop, Path, and then it worked, okay? So that is now the clipping path. You can see it wasn't exactly perfect because it was based on a selection, but that is the idea. Okay, guys, any other questions on anything that we have covered